G'day, g'day, g'day. This is Charlie, and I'm coming to you today from my locals community with your daily dose of business inspiration. Come on over and join me at askcharlieleetham.locals.com. You can join the community for free. You can become a supporter and join in the conversations. Add your own conversations and access supporter only content. It's just $2 US per month. So you get all of that. With that, you also help me to keep creating content like this, like my podcasts, or like my tutorials. But today I want to talk to you about the art of negotiation and building win-win relationships. I'm going to ask you a question before I start. When you think of negotiation, do you think of it in terms of win-win, or do you think of it in terms of getting what you want? It doesn't really matter about the other guy. Now, that's a bit rough and it's a bit hard. That's a bit of a hard way of putting it. But I certainly remember when I was a young salesperson and we were talking about negotiating and closing the deals and all of those things. The general gist of a lot of the reading I did, a lot of the training I saw was you've just got to close the deal. And no matter what the cost, close the deal, close the deal, close the deal. It wasn't until I came across a professional development guy, or I guess he's a professional development guy, called Zig Ziglar. And you will hear me reference him a lot. It's probably getting a bit old now, but I still go back to things that I learned through Zig Ziglar's writings, and I listened to a lot of audios of his when I was young. And I'm talking 17, 18, 19 years old is when I was listening to Zig. And he's got a book called The Secrets of Closing the Sale. And it wasn't until I sort of started listening to him and other speakers like him that I became comfortable with sales, that I became comfortable with closing a deal, with asking for the business, if you like. So I'm just going to go through a couple of things here that I think are very beneficial, and I hope you get something from them. And I would love for you to tell me what's working here, what doesn't work for you, what do you like, what don't you like, what could you never do. The first thing I'm going to say is that when you're negotiating, it should be about a win-win. I feel you need to have a win for you and a win for your client. It's not just about you closing a sale and being able to deliver something to them. The client has to feel like they're getting something of value out of it. How many times have you gone to a car yard and they've just gone, do you go to car yards anymore? Goodness, the last time I was in a car yard was a little while ago. Even when I bought this van, I didn't go to, well, I went to one car yard and walked out because I didn't like it. It was awful. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's still the same sort of thing. It just didn't work for me. Oh, look, this is a good car. Good car. Buy car. Buy the car. Buy the car. Buy the car. It's like, I'm not ready to buy the car. This isn't actually what I want. I want something. Well, this is the only one that's here. Okay, well, I'll wait. So there wasn't that win-win. They didn't care necessarily about what I really wanted. They just wanted to make the sale, and they weren't going to get that from me. And so when you're looking to close a deal with your clients, and I'm talking to anyone here, and I'm not talking about, this isn't a hard sales process. This isn't about being a hard-nosed salesperson. It's us being in the service industry, offering our services to people, and then trying to get the deal done so that we can get on, A, earn money, and B, give the client the services that they're looking for. So the first thing you've got to do, or it's got to be a win-win situation. So the first thing you need to do is identify and understand what the interests and needs are of both parties in the negotiation. So that's yourself. You need to understand what it is you want out of it, what interests you and what you want out of it. You also need to understand what your client is looking for out of it, the person you are trying to sell to. If you don't understand that, it's going to be really, really hard, not only to give them a proposal that makes sense, but also to then get them to say yes to what you're providing. So the way you do that is by talking. Actually, it's not by talking. It's by listening, active listening. I'm going to shout out to Rael Dolan from Keeping It Real with Jack and Rael. She often is Or she makes jokes about the fact she doesn't actively listen because she's so busy thinking about the next thing she needs to say that it sometimes forgets. But she sometimes forgets or doesn't quite engage. But active listening, really, really important. Something that was said to me again as a young salesperson: you have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Use them in those ratios. So look and listen twice as much as you speak. Pretty much was the gist of that advice. So actively listen to what they're saying to you. When they start talking about things, listen for things that they get excited about. Listen for things that they get angry or upset about, and then use effective questionings to understand what's the underlying motivator there. What is the true motivation behind this? Sometimes someone will come to you and say, I want to do this thing, and they'll give you a reason, and you just know that it's not quite right. And that's probably because of the body language, the tone of voice, all of those little things that add up to little indicators. Work out a decent question set that you can go back and say, oh, that's really interesting. Can I just ask you a little bit about that? I noticed that you seemed a little bit upset, or I noticed that there seemed to be something on that. What is it? Have you had a bad experience? Is there an experience you want to share with me on it? Ask. Ask open-ended questions. Do you know what the difference between an open-ended and a closed-ended question is? A closed question is a question that you can say yes or no to. Answer yes or no. Is this pink? Yes or no? What color is this? What color do you think this is? Well, that's pink. Oh, really? I actually thought that was more of a maroon color or more of a fuchsia. I would have called that fuchsia. Okay, so you've now got a discussion going as to, what's the difference in the colors, and why would you think that's pink and I would think that's fuchsia? You've now got a dialogue going. Bad example, I think, but it underscores the point for me. And then start focusing on the interests rather than the positions that they're holding. Because once you start focusing on their interests, you can start to come up with solutions that really address what they're looking for. So that's the first point. Understand the interests of both the parties. You need to develop great communication skills. You need to learn how to ask open-ended questions. You need to learn how to drag those through and how to move through those to get the information out of people. It's not just that though, it's also learning about how you can put your own position forward, how you can explain your own interests in a situation. The term I have here in my notes is persuasively. I always get a little bit funny about using those sorts of terms, and the reason I get a bit funny is there's so many connotations, negative connotations. Well, you've just got to persuade them to do it. Well, no, you need to give people enough information that they can make a decision that they're going to accept it and embrace it. So yes, you're persuading them, but you're not persuading them by being cagey, by being funny. You're persuading them by allowing them to make their own decisions. And get really, really good at reading body language. Look, one of my favorite people when it came to body language was Alan Pease. I read his books cover to cover so many times as a young woman, and I still do. I loved his books. He's really, really good. He used to have some really good videos and stage talks about it. Certainly go and have a look on YouTube, see if he's got some stuff up on YouTube. He's really great. An Australian, so he comes across with all the great Australian forthrightness and bluntness, but it's also really understandable. And there's some other great resources out there, but he's the one that I always go back to, Alan Pease, Pease. The third thing is collaborative problem solving. This isn't just about you coming forward and saying, well, I can do this for you. This will answer your question. This will solve your problems. One of the ways I like to do it is ask a lot of questions, get a lot of information, go back, look at how I can package my services to address what they're looking for, and then go back to them with a proposal and say, listen, I put this together, but I'd really appreciate the opportunity to go through it with you, see what works for you, what doesn't work for you, see what I can tweak a little to make this better and work within your framework while still meeting my own goals and help me run my own business. It gives them a feeling of ownership because it's not just your proposal to them, it then becomes their proposal or our proposal as a whole. That's splitting hairs a little, but you give them ownership in the solution and they're more open to taking it. Now, I'm not saying get them to do the work, and I'm not saying take up a lot of their time to do it. Business owners are really busy. You're really busy as a business owner. I know this. Business owners are busy. So don't take up a heap of time, but throw it to them as I'd really like to refine this now to give you what you're really looking for. Okay, so there's 3 points that we can talk about, or that I've spoken about, for the art of negotiation, building win-win relationships. I am absolutely going to suggest that you go and have a read, find the audio, read, see if there's any videos of Zig talking about the secrets of closing the sale. It was one of the best things I ever watched, actually, read, listened to, whatever it was I did. I listened to it several times. Okay, guys, remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, ring the notification bell so you find out when I drop more content. Please leave a review so people know that you enjoyed the podcast, this episode, so that they may come and listen to it as well. And maybe share this episode with someone who you think will benefit from it. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.